So you will soon get the recording links here on what we have discussed in our last classes. So those who are new, guys, don't worry, you have not missed anything. We are talking about the normal things. Okay, so guys, so those who attended my last class, let me share my screen. Should we have a shootout round a bit on what we have discussed? Okay, so those who, I think, let's do one thing. Let's have a small recap on what we have discussed, right? Sure, definitely. What say, guys? Should we have a small recap on what we have discussed? Okay, okay, all right. So guys, I need your responses. Those who have attended my classes. So what did we discuss first? We have discussed about what is client. What is client? Come on. What is client? Client is who requests the resource, right? Client means who requests the resource. And then, okay, I should be having somewhere, just a second. So I'll be showing you again where we have. Okay. Let me open few things that we have discussed. Excellent. Yeah. Can you see my screen now? Okay. All right. Good. Okay, guys. So this is what we have discussed. This is a good chance that, to have a nice refresh. Guys, those who are new, please concentrate on what we have discussed. Okay. So what is client? So client is the guy who, excellent, guys. So client is the guy who requests a resource here. So which request a resource? So let's say what did we discuss about the client example? What was the example? We took browser as an example. So browser, when you open the browser and type google.com, so I can say this browser is a client, and whenever you type google.com, this request will go to the other end to get the request. So who will be on the other end? The other end would be the server. So if anyone asks you what is server, then you can say which respond to that particular request. Very good, Chaitanya, Srikant, Ravi, hey, Ravi Raja and all. Good, right? So what is client in simple language? Guys, client meaning which request a resource, and server meaning which respond to that particular resource. And all this client and server will be in the network, right? So what are the things that we call in network, guys? What did we discuss? We call it as devices. Everything in the network is a device, and that device can be either a client or a device can be either a server. Guys, anything which is asking, anything is like, hey, give me something. Anything with device which is asking, you can call it as client. Any device in the network where it is giving back is called a server. So this is in simple what is client and what is server. And we have discussed about there are three different types of client server architectures: one tier, two tier, and then three tier. So one tier is not at all used. And coming to the two tier, excellent, Chaitanya. So in two tier, how many layers are there in two tier? Two layers, client layer and server layer. Guys, in two tier architecture, simply I can say that quickly, guys. Here there will be clients, there will be a client and there will be a server. So let's say, for example, if you have a let's only 4 GB RAM on the server, and you have put some application over here, right? So guys, guys, I would recommend first concentrate on the topic, then we can discuss. You can ask on all this is it recording session. But by the way, guys, I'm alive. Okay, this is live. Don't think that this is recorded session. By the way, I'm live. I'm alive. right? So but is this recorded, will be shared or not? Forget about all these things for some time. Let's discuss concepts here, and then we'll take everything later. Okay, sure. But you will be getting soon all the recorded videos that we have discussed on a couple of days back. Okay. Okay, so I'm just quickly recapping on what we have discussed, guys. Okay, all right. So client will be connected to the server here, and let's say, for example, guys, we have a server here which has application inside, and you have 4 GB. What is two-tier meaning? You will have only two layers. You'll have only two layers. I think we have discussed. I have saved all these things here. This is one tier. So this is two tier. This is what we have discussed, right? Yeah. So in two-tier architecture, guys, we have two layers. What are those? Client layer and then server layer. And there might be many clients who will be connected to the server. Let's say in two-tier architecture, we have the server layer here. In this, we will be putting our own application and we'll putting the database. So what I mean here is we are dumping everything in a single server. Guys, just in case here, this server might be able to handle 100 requests from the clients. What happen if all of a sudden you'll get 1,000 requests to this server, and which has only 4 GB RAM? What will happen to this server? Guys, those who are new? Yes. Come on. You can chat with me. Come on. So yes. So if lots of yes, if lots of load come into the server, definitely the server will become slow, or server will die or crash. You definitely, it's not reachable, and you have a bad performance. It will hang, etc., etc. Everything will happen because, and again, guys, if this server goes down, your application went down and your database also will go down. So everything or entire infrastructure will go down in this two-tier architecture. So here mainly what you need to concentrate here is keeping, now you tell me, keeping your application and database on the same server is safe or not? Yes or no? Everyone? Definitely no. Definitely no. And that's the reason why we don't choose two-tier architecture, because it's a big no for production. So it is not at all recommended to keep this application server and database server in one server. And that's the reason why we go to three-tier architecture. Excellent. So this is the three-tier architecture that we have discussed, guys. So in three-tier architecture, how many layers are there? Super. Three layers. What are those? Client layer, application layer, and then database layer. Guys, those who are new, don't think that I am using already. So these are all that we have discussed right before. So I just opened those panes, right, which is written by me here. Yeah. So guys, here we have three layers. What are those? Client layer, application layer, and database layer. Mainly, guys, mainly in this three-tier architecture, we have segregated application server and then database server. है ना? So we have segregated application server and database server. So we are not keeping database and application in the same server, which is not at all good. Which is not at all good. And that's the reason why we separated this, right? And then if you separate this, will there be any fight in the resources inside the server, guys? We have discussed this. No. So how many clients are connected to your application server directly? No issues at all, because all this 4 GB RAM is completely allocated to the server, because there will be no other component here called database who will be asking the operating system saying that, hey, give me some RAM. Yeah. And also the same here. So individual, if you keep this database on separate server and application on separate server, you will get a nice performance. And we have discussed about what is application server. Guys, what is application server? Simply, if you are putting the application on the server, and that server is called application server. And what is database server? The server which stores the data is called database server, right? Guys, I'm just recapping it, okay, for the new guys. And guys, tell me this. Inside the entire network, two devices will communicate with each other using what? Using, everyone, IP address, right? Yeah, yes, Chandu, definitely will do. So it will, it devices communicate with each other with the net in the network with IP address or with the host name. And what is IP address that we have discussed? Every machine or every device in the network will have a unique identifier. So two devices, two hosts or two devices in the network, they will talk to each other using IP address. What is host name that we have discussed? Simply name of the server. Name of the server is called the host name. And guys, is it recommended to expose your application server directly to the public? Hmm? Super good responses, guys. Very nice. You got the concept right. So here, definitely no. Because if this application server is exposed to the internet, you have your bloody code written here, everything. What if some hacker or boochie come inside and then he hack your code, which is not good. And I don't want to expose this application server to the public. Instead of that, definitely I need to put this on private. But if you put your application server in private, can any client from public directly will connect to the private? Definitely no. And that's the reason, what is the component that we got to resolve this issue? Excellent. Web server. What's that? Web server. So web server is the one which we can keep in front of your application server, where all the clients will connect to the web server. Guys, what the web server do? Super. Hey, Srikanth. Very good. Just now, right? So guys, so excellent. So yes, what it does is basically it takes the request from the internet and it will just redirect to the application server. So in which scenario we still use two-tier? Guys, did we discuss this? Can anyone answer this question? In which scenario we use two-tier architecture? We have discussed. Excellent, Soumya. For testing, for development, for all this kind of environment, we'll go for two-tier architecture. And which is good for your production environment? Three-tier architecture. Got this? So this is the architecture that we will be developing in coming classes. Guys, new one. We haven't touched AWS yet. We are just talking about the basics. What is what and all, right? Don't think that you have missed something here. But even though I'm recapping, I'm just going through overview here. So the client will connect to the web server and web server will send requests to application server and application server will send the request to the database and database will give back the request to this and application server to web server and a web server to your client. Got this? Is this clear? CC? Super. So we have discussed this three-tier architecture, and after that we have discussed this guy. So, guys, again for the new guys here, I really appreciate my guys who are from my day one classes. I really appreciate for your patience. Just hold on for a few minutes. So let us have everyone in the same page and then we'll continue further. Is that okay? Super. Super. Yeah. Thanks for understanding. Good. So, guys, new guys, concentrate. This is for you. So here, let's see. So we discussed here. We took an example. What is the example we took it here? Let's say, for example, whoever is new here. So you opened your laptop and in the browser you type a you type a website called google.com. This is a scenario, guys. Scenario is you open your browser and you type google.com, and immediately within fraction of seconds you will get Google page. But the question what we discussed here was, what happens when you hit enter and before your Google comes on the page? What will happen in that fraction of second is the concept that we have discussed in our last class. So here, guys, browser require two things here. So what is the things that you are mentioning? You open the browser and you're typing google.com. Yes or no? You're typing google.com. Google.com is a host name or it's a domain, right? And then, guys, tell me what is the other one which browser requires? Browser requires two things. One is host name and another one is IP address. You are providing fancily google.com to the browser, but browser will say, Abe, give me IP address also. Guys, but do you know the IP address of Google? Do you keep it handy with your, do you remember? No, na. So, okay, with very difficulty, you have remember google.com. And just imagine every day what are the sites that you will be accessing it. Do you remember every site's IP address? No. And who is the guy in the network who will remember all the IP addresses? DNS. So DNS meaning what? Domain name server. Do you see that here? This is domain name server. Okay. So DNS is the guy who will keep track of all your host names and IP address, right? So DNS is like, you can think it's like a storage, it's like a database, it's like a repository where it keeps the information. Like, okay, how do we keep like, in our phone, what we will have a contact, right? Contact name, contact number. The same way here, you have host name and that particular IP address uh, stored inside this DNS. Whenever you type google.com, browser will ask, hey, let's say, for example, who is the new guys here? Can someone give your name here? Just put me. I'll take your name here. Me, just put me. Basha. No, Basha. Okay, I'll take Basha. So Basha here, right? So Basha, see, Basha opened the laptop in the browser and then he typed google.com and he'll say, Arey, oh, Basha bhai, give me the IP address. And Basha will say, chalta nahi bhai, pata nahi, I don't know IP addresses here. I don't know. I don't remember any IP address. Arey, I don't know IP address. Let me ask here, guys. And this browser will ask your local DNS. Local DNS is the guy who will be sitting inside in your computer only. That will be inside your C drive, system 32. There will be a folder called etc driver and host file. You don't need to remember this, but there will be a local DNS sitting inside your computer. And browser will ask, a local DNS, Basha is asking google.com, can you give me the IP address? Chal bhai, I don't know. And browser will not give empty result to Basha, because if we give empty result, what is the meaning? Google page not found, right? So if the local DNS says that, hey, I don't know the IP address and I don't care, then what is the request back? You will get it on the browser. Page not found, right? And then website not available, right? Internet is disconnected. All these kind of question, these kind of things. 404, very good. All these things you will get it. Let's say, and local DNS will not leave you like this. And local DNS will in turn, if the IP address is not with the local DNS, what will happen? It will send request to the root name server. Root name server is the one who will see, Basha, which is the website that you are typing? Google.com. And with big eyes, this root name server, uh, this root name server will see whether he is typing .com or .org, .edu, .uk, there are so many are there, right? Basha Bhai is giving .com here. So this root name server will identify whether it is .com or .in, .org. After that, based on that, it will send to top level domain. Top level domain is nothing but your .com is top level domain. Excellent. Your .com is top level domain. Guys, just imagine, Basha, in .com, how many millions of website you have just within .com? Yes or no? We have millions of website, na? Do you agree, everyone? New guys, this is for you. I need your responses here, right? So you have millions of websites inside this .com. Out of millions of this website, how do you identify google.com? So this is the guy called name server who will be, right, who will be identifying that domain. So the request will go to the name server and name server will shout, hey, request, Basha's request, I am here, name server, come here, I am google.com here. So google.com, and this instance will send to SOA meaning start of authority. And guys, all this journey is just because to get the IP address only. And bloody, who has the IP address finally here? SOA has the start of authority, is the guy who has the IP address. Amma. Finally, we got the IP address, and happily, the IP address will be sent back to the local DNS, and local DNS will to the browser. What was the initial topic? Browser need two things. What are those? Host name and IP. Host name you are provided google.com, and now browser also got the IP address by going all these things. And and so here browser haven't got the Google page yet. It got only these two, host name and IP. But now the time, it's time to go to Google company. Where is your Google servers, guys? Google servers in Google company. Yahoo servers will be in Yahoo company, right? So everything is in their company, right? So let's now request will go to, guys. Now request will go to where? Google company, and request is going like this. And who is the guy who will stop this request before entering into the Google company? Firewall. Super. What's that? Firewall. So firewall is the guy who will stop that request. And what is firewall? What did we learn about the firewall? What is the single line answer? So firewall is a guy which stops unauthorized access. Do you remember that I gave you this example? Like, if you're going to your apartment, right? Who will stop you first? Security guy will stop you, and he'll ask, "Who are you? Where are you? Where are you going from? Where are you coming?" So the same questions will be asked by this firewall to that request. Firewall will stop. Firewall will stop the request and say, "Abeo request. Who is coming from Basha? What do you have? Hey, I want Google page. Are you a Google firewall? Yes, I'm Google firewall. So I have, so security, this firewall will say that, hey, I have some rules. Let me check, cross check. So guys, how does your protocols look like? How do you type http://google.com, right? So what is a protocol? HTTP protocol. So on the firewall, this company, Google company, or any network admin or any administrator will create a rules and firewall saying that, hey, anyone who is coming from outside should have HTTP or HTTPS. Allow them only, otherwise denied. So based on the rules, this firewall will send request to inside. Let's think that firewall has allowed it inside. Guys, new guys. So do you think that Google company will have only one web server to handle? Definitely no. So you have, I just put it 3 servers here. Definitely you'll have multiple servers there. To balance the load, which is the component is required to distribute the traffic on multiple servers to the multiple servers? Load balancer. Who is that? Load balancer. What is load balancer that we have learned? Load balancer is the one which distribute the traffic to multiple servers at the same time. So if the request for one, it's like TAPIL control. Very good, Shravan. So here load balance, hey, the request, you go to this request, next you go to this, a request, next you go to this. So it balances the load among the servers here. That is the concept of load balancer. and and you have your Google page here and the database server, and the request will come back like this, like this, like this, and finally the request will go back to your browser with the Google page. So in this entire architecture, we have learned what is DNS, and we have learned what is firewall, what is load balancer, what is root name servers, all these things that we have learned. This is what we have discussed in our previous classes. Is this clear, guys? New guys, especially? Everyone? CC meaning crystal clear. So you should give as a response as CC. CC, that meaning I understood well that you are clear. Any questions still here? Right? CC, right? Okay. So now, you got a confidence that did you miss anything now? No, you have not missed anything. Okay? Good. Good one. Okay. So today's topic is, guys, what I thought was to talk about the protocols. Guys, how does the request go from here to here, one place to another place? We have something called data packets. What is that? Data packets. All the requests will go based on the data packets, and in that data packets you have all this information. So guys, let us talk about these protocols concepts today. What is these protocols and all, and why we use protocols, and what is this about, why we need all these things that we'll discuss today. Okay, good. So let me take a new one so that you understand better. Okay, guys. So before going to, I just wanted to cross check with you that how does the request from browser to go and get the Google, guys? First one. Okay, new guys, you tell me. From browser it goes to local DNS. From local DNS it goes to root name server. From root name server it goes to top level domain. From top level domain it goes to super name server. From name server it goes to sort of authority, and the browser will come to your browser again. IP address will come to your browser again. From browser it goes to again directly to firewall. From firewall it goes to super load balancer, and from load balancer it goes to web server, and from web server it goes to application server, and from application server it goes to DB server. This is, and then it will return back. This is what we have discussed. Okay, guys, those who are new but still you feel there is some sir, I need a little bit more, definitely Mr. Nagbabu will provide my previous videos on what you have missed. You can neatly listen later, but you have got an idea for sure, I know that. Okay, guys, so from browser, how does the request goes from one place to other place is the concept today. Have you heard about HTTP? Just now we discussed about the HTTP. What is the full form of HTTP? These are all interview questions, guys. So hypertext transfer protocol. What is that? Hypertext transfer protocol. Super. Let's see what is this used for and what is this. And guys, whenever you open a browser, how do you type? What is the how do you type? What is the syntax? You type like this, na? http://google.com. It can be HTTP or HTTPS, whatever. I'll talk about that difference also. See. So the first thing is always protocol. So in your, we call it as URL. You know URL, right? URL meaning the one which you are typing it on the browser. So the URL syntax is like this, guys. So first is protocol : // and then you have your domain name, colon, and you have something called here port number. Hey, usually how do you type in the browser? You type like this: http:// google.com. But what is there in the end? Port number. But do you mention the port number for google.com? Hmm? No. So, no, you no need to mention any port number on any other website if you are using HTTP, because HTTP default port number is 80. What is that? HTTP default. HTTP default port number is 80. And guys, this is an interview question. See, if I ask you a question that HTTP default port number is always 80, so can't we customize this port number? It should be always 80, right? This is an interview question, guys. See, so if anything which HTTP, guys, anything which HTTP by default here at the end, if you put 80 or not, both are same. Both are same. So let's say, for example, I type google.com colon 80. You see that? It went to Google. So if you mention it or not, but do you see that here? HTTPS. So HTTP default port number is 80 and HTTPS default port number is 443. If you mention this particularly or not, both are same, because those are default port numbers. What is that, guys? That is default port numbers. Okay, now, guys, now let's say, for example, I have a server. What is this? Okay, now concentrate, guys. I have a server. In this server, I put my application. I'm putting my application. And my application is running on port 8080 or some other port. Okay. Whenever I launch the, whenever I create the server, it has an IP address now. Now, can you tell me how do I access this application from outside? Can you tell me the URL for this? HTTP colon slash slash that IP of the server. Colon. Okay, let's say, for example, for your convenient purpose, here the IP address is 192.168.10.20, for example. Okay, now tell me how should I access? Now you tell me which one will work. This will work, or this will work, or this will work. 1, 2, 3. Which one? Definitely excellent, guys. So that definitely third one. Okay. So just now we have discussed that HTTP default port number is 80. So is it mandatory to have HTTP always 80? No. So the port numbers can be customizable. This is what I want to say. The port number is customizable. So the port number based on your application, you might have heard about Tomcat. Your Tomcat application server is running on 8080. So based on your application, if your application is running on the particular port number, yeah, Jenkins and all, yeah, right. So port number. So based on that, you need to have the URL. So your application is running on port 8080, right? And that's the reason why you have to mention port 80. If at all your application is running on port 80, there is any difference between first and two, 1 and 2? No, there is no difference, because, right? Because the first one is on 80, whether you mention it or not, it took 80 here. Both are same. We have just saw that whether you mention it or not, by default it takes port 80. So here the concept here is, so however, so default port number is 80. However, you can customize the port number on application level. You understand the point? This is the interview question. Got this? Is it clear on this? Guys, is this clear? Okay. So, sir, you might say that, sir, we know what is HTTP. What is port number? Port number is for every protocol there is a port number assigned. Yeah, it is a unique identifier application in the network. That's very true, Raghavendra. Okay, now you understand what is HTTP. Sir, I understood what is HTTP, but where is this HTTP used? What is the use of this HTTP? I would give you a simple example so that you never will forget. And this is the actual thing that HTTP does. See, guys. So this is your client. Assume this is your client. Client can be your browser, okay? And this is your server, okay? You typed here google.com in the browser, okay? You type google.com. Guys, who is the guy? See, whenever you type google.com, there is a HTTP on the URL, right? You no need to remember the port numbers. I'll talk about that, Pasha. See here. Whenever you type google.com, this is the guy, HTTP is the guy who will be traveling to the server and server to the client. This is the job of HTTP. See, you understand? HTTP is the guy who will be traveling throughout the server, get the data, Google page, and HTTP, all the data will be inside the HTTP, and then it goes to the browser. So HTTP is the guy who will be transferring the data. HTTP transfers the data to and fro from your website to the server. This is the job of HTTP. Got that? And definitely this should be inside these two should be inside the network. Then only it will connect, na? So this guy, that's very good. So here this guy will send to this and this guy will send to this. That is why it is named as hypertext transfer protocol. So it transfers the data from one place to other place. That is the job of HTTP. That is the job of HTTP. Excellent, Hussein. Very good. Let me write that so that you can tell that you can have a record here. What is HTTP? HTTP, if someone asks what is HTTP, you can say that HTTP transfers the data to and fro from the website to from the website to server and server to website. It's better to call it as browser to server and server to browser. Got that? Okay, people are still joining. Okay, yeah, got this, guys. And let's say another certification question, guys. Here, see, let's say you have initiated google.com from your browser and HTTP went to the server and server was down and maybe your application is not available. Something goes wrong here. If something goes wrong on the server, the client should know what happened on the server. And that's why HTTP will give you the status codes. What do we call? Status codes. Got that? So whether that, okay, so you sent a request to the server, right? And the server, so let's say you are asking index.html page from the browser. And HTTP will go to the server and file, hey server, give me index.html. And server will say, I don't have it. Then HTTP will collect the same thing and will give to the browser. But the page is not there. If page is not found, what is the error? Did you hear what is the status code? Do you remember? 404? Page not found. Now you understood why you get this error, page not found, because HTTP will go and search on the server. If page not found, he'll display an error called status code called page not found. And can you tell me few things that you know about the status codes? Have you heard about 503? Always on your IRCTC website. Uh-huh. Service unavailable, right? 500 or 503 and all. And you might have seen like 401 error, which is unauthorized, which is unauthorized. Okay, we have discussed. Okay, let's say you have given wrong username and password, right? You have wrong username and password. So then in that case, you will have unauthorized access, and you have 500. All these things, Kalyan, you're right. All are internal server errors. Yeah. So internal, it should be internal server errors. So here, guys, okay, if page found, what is the status code? Hmm? If page found, 200. What is that? If page found, it is 200. This is a certification and interview question, both. If page found, that is a status code. If page found, 200. Got this? Yeah. Is this clear till here? You have so many, guys, you have so many status codes. So at least you remember few things. It's not necessary to learn all the status code. You'll go mad, right? You just learn few things. Or whenever you see any status code, you just put in the Google, directly you'll get in the first link itself. Okay. So Nev, what is the difference between, can we call HTTP as device? No, it is a protocol. It's a protocol. It cannot be called it as device for sure. Device, we can say that either it can be a client or a server. Like machines, we call it as devices, but these are all protocols. Yeah. So guys, what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? Which one is secure? HTTPS is always secure. So what is the port number for HTTPS? 443. So when the request is going, let's say for example, so what happens if we give different port number to the same domain name? It will not work. Simple as that. Let's say, for example, let me give a live thing. If I type google.com:8080, will it work? Harsha? It will not work for sure. Because the firewall, your application is working on port 80. By the way, your customer is not at all interested to see these nasty port numbers on his browser. Would you like to give that kind of port number? Right? Facebook port number something, no, right? So it is not recommended. Yeah. So, okay. So HTTP and HTTPS, for example, guys, let's say from your browser to the server, you are doing on the browser, you are doing some payments. Yeah. You are doing some payments and your URL is HTTP. Your URL is HTTP and you are doing some credit card, some payments. You are buying, you are purchasing something on some website and website is using HTTP. Is it safe to use HTTP website to do all kind of payments? Definitely no. Because remember this, HTTP protocol uses plain text transfer. Plain text transfer meaning everything is transparent. So guys, everything will go from one place to one other place using packet. So this, I can put it as this is packet. What is there in the packet? Usually from one place to other place, it goes using the packet, right? In this packet, you have source, from where it is coming, which browser, and destination, and which protocol, and which port number, Is it secure or not? These are all the information. Usually you will have it in the packet, guys. So from the browser, you are sending this packet to the server. And if this packet is HTTP, any hacker can easily hold this packet. He will hack it, and it will contain whatever the data, whatever the your credit card details, your CVV number, whatever the numbers, everything that you are moving, you're transferring from you're putting in the browser, it will go to the server using HTTP protocol in transparent. So basically, hacker can easily hack it. So keep that in mind. Whenever you are doing any payments online, keep that in mind. First, you see whether your website is HTTP or HTTPS. If it is HTTP and if it's asking for the payment, bullshit. Is it a fake website? For sure. Check that. Okay. So if it is secure, all the entire packet, the data what you are providing, everything is encrypted. What is that? Encrypted. So whenever any hacker hacked it also, nothing will happen because all the data is in encrypted format. So which protocol is used on your production environment? Which protocol is recommended to use on your production environment? HTTP. So if you ask me, sir, how to get HTTPS and all, that is all that we'll be learning. We have a concept called certificates. So you need to purchase the certificates and you need to configure this HTTP. These are all the things that we'll be learning. Guys, these are all the trailers. These are all the basics that I'm teaching you. Later, we'll be jumping into the actual concepts. Super. Is it clear till here? Let's go smooth. What is the difference? Which one? HTTP and HTTPS, huh? HTTP and HTTP. Okay, simple. I'll write it here. HTTP not secure. HTTPS secure. This is the difference. With helmet, without helmet. If you're going, that's the reason. That's the thing. Yes, it's it uses SSL also here. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Okay, super. So we have discussed about what is HTTP, what is HTTPS, and all. HTTP, when to use it? You can use it in your private network, in your own network. HTTP, guys, you can use HTTP also. Remember, it's not mandatory to go for HTTPS. But if you're having any sensitive information on your website, and if you want to transfer it, definitely you have to use HTTPS. And if you don't have any sensitive information or confidential information, go for HTTP, no issues. Okay, Pranav, if you understood, put CC. Guys, here, good that we have learned all these things, but many experienced people say this: HTTP over TCP IP. What is TCP here? What is TCP here, guys? What is TCP? What is TCP here? Hmm? Super. Transmission control protocol. Sir, we just discussed about HTTP. HTTP is moving the data from here to there, that to here, na sir. Then what is again the transmission control protocol? Again, what is this? Transmission control protocol. Let's see here. Transmission control protocol, basically, guys, here is, let's say, for example, in the network we have, let's say we take two hosts. Guys, remember, in the entire network, we call it as host, na? Host devices. This is host 1 and we call it as host 2. We call it as host in the network. Okay. Now, and this guy wants to connect to this guy. This guy wants to talk to this guy. How this will happen? See, the same example. If you are if you are, let's say, basically, if you are using a browser here and talking to the server, how does it goes. Guys, first of all, we know that we know that HTTP, yes, HTTP is the guy, HTTP or HTTPS, both, anything. This is the guy who is transmitting the data from here to here. But remember, in order to work this HTTP and HTTPS, first of all, there should be a connection should be established between the two hosts. Who will establish the connection between the two hosts? Is TCP. Is TCP. TCP is like a road. It's a mediator. It's a broker. It's an messenger between the two hosts. So this HTTP is the guy. He uses TCP as a road, and he will be moving on TCP. Without TCP, HTTP doesn't work. So HTTP is like a car, and like TCP, this is would be a car, and this HTTP will be sitting inside the TCP, and TCP is the guy, HTTP HTTPS is the guy who will be moving inside the TCP. So TCP is doesn't have is not having only HTTP HTTPS. Any protocol you take it has to go on TCP only. If you take SSH, if you take FTP, if you take any other protocol, that should go on the TCP only. And there is also another brother on TCP. Have you heard about UDP? Yeah. So UDP is like the guy which is not reliable. All right, is not reliable. You can say like, let's say, okay, I should not say. Okay, let's be, yeah. So TCP is reliable and UDP is not reliable. So basically, just in case, if connection is lost between the two hosts, TCP will try to reconnect it. But UDP, what will say, if connection is lost, that's all. That is why UDP is called, it's not reliable protocol. It is TCP is the guy which is reliable. So TCP, what is TCP? TCP establish the connection between the two hosts. TCP is like a messenger or bridge, right? TCP is reliable, whereas UDP, full form, user datagram protocol, is not reliable. Got this? Is not reliable. So remember, that's why. So how does these two hosts communicate with each other? Using IP, na? Without IP, it doesn't work, right? So using the IP without IP, it doesn't work. So that's why it is called this HTTP over TCP and IP. That is the reason why it is called HTTP should be always on TCP and IP. And that's the reason why we call it as TCP. Guys, TCP is a bridge. TCP is not the one who is exchanging the content. TCP will establish the collection and a connection, it will just leave. That's all. And rest, who will be transferring here and there? HTTP is the guy who will be moving the data from here to here on TCP bridge. Do you understand the difference between now HTTP, HTTPS, TCP, IP and all? Is it clear? Super. Super. Great. So this is what I was talking about here. We discuss about this, and then HTTP. Hey, by the way, do you remember these OSI models, guys? Right? It's not necessary to talk about OSI layers, but I'm just curious to everyone. I bet, guys, I bet this OSI layers, you have learned this in your academic year, right? Yes. That too, this is a pakka exam question and you have just by hearted it. But does anyone knows here how this OSL layer works and why it is related to us? No. So everyone just learned it because of to pass the exam. That's all. But now I'll remove that myth for you. See, guys, I'll just see how we can develop this OSL layers in real time is see. I'll just put it in very funny way. See. So let's say I have two hosts, right? This is two hosts. Yes, Chandu. See here, this is host and this is another host. And you can think it of this is boy and this is girl. Okay. If boy is here and girl is here, definitely what will happen? What will happen now? Definitely there will be a chance that this boy wants to talk to the girl. Let's see this as a scenario. Let's see how how we will build this OSL layers now, guys. Okay. So first of all, the boy and girl should be present there physically, right? There should be a physical, right? So just this is the server, right? This is the server and this is the server. So basically everything will start with it should be physical first. So anything which is physical will come under physical layer. Anything which come under physical, the machine, anything what you can touch is called physical layer, guys. And this is the server and this is the server. First of all, these two servers are should be there in order to talk to each other. That is physical presence is required. Okay, now this boy wants to talk to this girl. First, this boy has to talk to this girl, right? So that meaning the data has to be sent from here to here. There should be a link, na? How does the from one server to other server, how does the data will transmit? Through the Ethernet link, right? Yes or no, guys? We have a Ethernet link, right? On your laptop, on your servers, right? So the link that the link should be there in order to send the data from the server to get the server to get the data to send the data link should be there. And that's the reason why we have on top of it we have something called data link layer. Okay, my physical machine is ready, data link is ready. Now this server, that is different case. If this girl wants to talk to the boy also same procedure. Okay, so here guys see, so now data this physical server is ready, data link is ready, guys. In order to talk to both of them, they both should be in the network or not? Do you agree? These two guys should be inside the same network or not? Do you agree? Yes. So how does this guy wants to communicate with each other? How does the two hosts will communicate with each other in the network? Using IP address, right? So the next thing here, we need to have a network, right? So that's the reason why we have on top of it, we have something called network layer, where you can where you should have your IP address. Okay. Network is established. That's good. Now, this boy is able to see the girl inside the same network. Hmm? And now the connection should be established between both of them. And who is the guy who will be establishing the connection between the two one? TCP. Fantastic. So TCP will come under transport layer. Your TCP. Oh, good. The connection is established now. Once the connection is established, once the connection is established, now he need to establish the session, right? Hey, hello, kaise ho? So slowly he's putting biscuit. Session layer will be established on top of it. Once the session layer is established, personal private sessions layers are established between the two hosts. Now all kind of presents he can give. So presentation layer, And on top of it, so you presentation layer, meaning here I can say that all your SSH connections direct to the server, everything is presentation layer. On top of it, if you put some application and if you want to use it, and that is on top of it, we have something called application layer. That meaning all your HTTP and HTTPS, etc., will work on this application layer. So this is how did we got 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So all these 7 we call it as OSI layers, open system integration or interconnection, whatever. Did I remove that OSI question myth now? Do you understand how we can how this is used in our actual environments? Is that clear? Right? So these OSI layers are very much used in order for troubleshooting purpose also, in order to design something on the network. This is important to understand. Excellent. What an fantastic. Thank you. No, David, sorry. Thank you for such a lovely guy. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So guys, I would say here now, you are super ready for to go to next topic, right? To next topic. You know, okay, now let's see what all we have discussed about client, we have discussed about the server, we have discussed about client server architectures, we have discussed about the DNS, we have discussed about firewall, we have discussed about a load balancer, web servers, application servers, database servers, protocols, TCP, HTTP, HTTPS, right? IP addresses, OSI layers. Guys, you are now well stuffed with, you are well ready to go to the next concept. So what I'll be doing is, from tomorrow we will enter into the actual concepts, and tomorrow is a very, very, very important session. If you miss tomorrow, you don't understand why the hell we are learning AWS, and you don't understand why AWS came into picture. You don't understand what is this cloud all about. You don't understand where is this cloud, what is this cloud, what is, why this, etc., etc., etc. So tomorrow would be the very, very important session. Don't miss it all. So I'll be talking many things tomorrow, so don't miss it. And I would be sharing, guys, all the material to you. So Nagababu, if you are here, please put my previous sessions here. Those who have missed, they can go through it. Hey guys, most of you have already registered here. So rest who have not registered, please go and do it. We can share our material, right? We can share the material on it. So that from tomorrow onwards, we'll be jumping into the actual topics. So don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be taking you. We'll go very smooth, very slowly. I'm telling you again. Just note down the date, and I will ask you the same question. Did I make this AWS really easy for you or not? You will be answering that. Yes. Yeah. Excellent. So, can you give me the final CC for today? Of course, with smile. Smile karo bhai. Any uh, any non-technical things, you can contact Mr. Nagbabu. He's always ready. And if you have any issues with payments also, you can check with him. He's very nice guy. You can talk about all opportunities and all kind of stuff there. Excellent. So I will be really happy to help you to answer all your questions. And by the way, guys, hold on. So this is my personal email. So if you really uh, that is my personal email. If you want to ask something, you can just email me. I'll reply on top of it. If you could not able to, if I don't able to answer it here. Hey, so it is Ymail only. It is Ymail only. Okay, it is Ymail only. Uh, yeah. Hey, that is all, guys. So when is our next batch? This is Ratnam. Please go with this batch only because this is a fresh batch. It's a and from tomorrow is the nice topics he can join. Ask him to join this batch. Hey, that is all, guys, for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with the next topic. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Good night. Thank you.